All right. Okay. All right. I'm going to put a little bit on the YouTube screen so you guys can see it, what's going on when you come to it. That's what you're going to look like. N8XLQ. Now that's a good strong audio signal going into the box because I'm right here. So you're looking at that. I'm going to tell them again so it's on screen this time. The 805 towers in Berlin Heights, that's broadcasting over here, 2 meters. I'm rebroadcasting 440 right here, and then right here I'm also rebroadcasting 6 meter so I can get it into that radio right there you're looking at. So yeah, double crossband. Crazy. All right. Anyways, I think it was the first up here on the North Coast. You're welcome. N8XLQ. Let's have some fun today. First up here on the North Coast. N8XLQ. That's awesome. Jerry says that the KE8, KE8 TSV says we're up. Good, buddy. I appreciate that. All right. Banging into the thing besides me. N8XLQ on the KT8 VDW repeater group. YouTube's up. We got a couple campers watching, so and it's gonna stay forever. So I don't erase them, so you can just keep them up there. But yeah, Jeff will be starting here about quarter after. So you want to get in and do this, hurry up. I got like 2.5 minutes. N8XLQ. I'm standing right around here if you guys need anything. But once he gets started, man, I'm walking off and I'm doing stuff. And this stuff's going to be here by itself. I'm not going to be watching it because I don't have to. It doesn't quit. Thank God. N8XLQ. Watch it. That's 80. No, yeah. Go on. It's okay. Yeah, better to go now than later when Jeff's talking. Come on. You good? All right then.
LQ, this is TYUG. I got your YouTube up. Somebody passed me the link. I just wanted to say thanks for running that. I'm going to see how I sound out there. This is TYUG. I'll be clear.
Oh, yeah.
K8YUG. Good morning, Josh. NAPPS Rick here. Just wanted to say good morning. You don't even have to respond, and that's about to start. NAPPS.
Copy. Yeah, you're welcome, buddy. It's coming up here in just a second, so I'm going to step back and let things happen. N8XLQ.
Morning, this is WD8REI. My name is Jeff, located here in Tiffin, coming to you via the Republic of Ohio repeater. This is the North Central Ohio Information and Traffic Net. Good morning, everybody. What a beautiful Wednesday morning. So if you're in the sound of my voice, you're in the right place. Grab your coffee, pull up your chair. If you're driving, be careful. As always, we'll take check-ins by repeater. Got lots of stuff to talk about here today. Stuff going on with the weather, stuff going on with the American Radio Relay League. We got our FT991A schematics we're going to be looking at. And we're going to be talking about the outcome of the event last week that had to do with the Enigma encrypted messaging. It's kind of interesting. And a whole bunch of other stuff. So join us here this morning. Remember when you check in, if you're interested in being our liaison at the HF Ohio Single Sideband Net at the 10:30 a.m. session, let me know when you check in. I got a little bit of sad news to pass along here, but I wanted to mention the passing of a good friend and ham radio operator Jim Yoder, W-A-E-R-W, who's now a silent P. A lot of guys on here knew Jim. He was a Ohio Section Cabinet member for a number of years. He was the Ohio Aries data manager, took care of all the record keeping for the Aries training. We knew Jim personally, was a member of the Seneca Radio Club for a number of years. A really, really good person, and he'll be missed big time. So we'll take a minute here, just a minute of silence here for Jim Yoder, W-A-E-R-W, who's now a silent key. REI, this is the North Central Ohio Information and Traffic Net. We'll begin by taking our check-ins again by repeater. Stations on either of the two Republic repeaters with or without traffic called out. Jeff Mustang, Lima, Kilo November, KA8LKN. Good morning, Jeff. No traffic. This is Kilo Echo 8, Echo November, KA8LKN. Jeff, no traffic. Good morning, Jeff. This is Kilowatt Zulu 4, Charlie Whiskey, Fremont, Ohio. Good morning, Jeff. Good morning, Jeff. This is Kilo Bravo 8, Lima, Kilo Hotel, no traffic at the Seneca County Fair. Whiskey Alpha 8, Juliet Bravo Tango, Bob and Sandusky. Good morning. Jeff. Kilo Echo 8, Papa X-Ray, Ron from Southern Wyandotte County. I would be happy to be your HF liaison for the OSSBN today. I have no traffic. Kilo Echo 8, Victor Charlie Echo J in Fremont. Good morning, Jeff. No traffic. Up here a second. Let me get Ron here first. Good morning, Ron. KEPX. Thanks for being our HF liaison this morning, Ron. Currently, I'm not listening to any traffic, but we'll stand by here in case we have some coming in. Again, anybody listening, if you have formal NTS traffic, list it here at the beginning of the net, and we can get it right to Ron and he can get it on its way. If not, we can still take it throughout the net. It'll just get into the national traffic system a little bit later. All right. Again, thank you, Ron, for doing that. KA8LKN, good morning, Frank. Nice signal. Good morning, Jim. KA8ERN, good to hear you, Jim. Thanks for appreciate all your help. Jim keeps track of all you guys that check in here. So thanks for that, Jim. I got Kilo Zulu 4 Charlie Whiskey in Fremont, Ohio. Give me your first name there. I didn't get your first name. Sorry about that, Jeff. I did not say it. The first name is actually David, but I go by my middle name, Ron. Everyone knows me by Ron or Ronnie. KZ4CW. All right, well, we'll call you Ron then. All right, nice to hear you this morning, Ron. Good signal. So let's see. Did you check in here last week, or have you checked in here to the net before at any time? Jeff, I checked in last week, first time, so they rang the bell last week for me. Outstanding. I have a short-term memory. All right. Thanks, Ron. Good to hear you this morning. Good to have you with us. KB8LKH, good morning, Dan. Sounding good, Dan, and you're out at the Seneca County Fair this morning. I know the Seneca Radio Club's got a fair booth out there all week. So anybody in the Tiffin area checking out the fair, why check out the Seneca Radio Club's amateur radio booth there at the Public Safety Building. Good to hear you this morning, Dan. Thanks for checking in. Hey, JBT, good morning, Bob. Good signal. Got Bob here. We'll be talking to Bob a little bit here on BE test sessions, special event stations, and AmpFest. And we got Kilo Echo 8, Victor Charlie Echo. Good morning, Jay. Good to hear you up in Fremont. Nice signal, Jay. Are there any other stations on either of the two Republic repeaters with or without traffic called out? Kilo Charlie 8, Whiskey Hotel, Mike and Republic. Good morning, Jeff. No traffic. KBADNA, Clay, Norwalk. Morning, Jeff. Morning, Mike. KC8WH. Good signal, Mike. Good to hear you this morning. And good morning, Clay. KC8DNA, Norwalk. Good signal, Clay. Thank you for checking in. Anyone else on either of the two Republic repeaters called out? WB8REI is Kilo Echo 8, Delta Romeo Romeo. Troy and Willard. No traffic. on either of the two Republic repeaters before we switch to the Polk repeater? Anybody? WB8REI, the North Central Ohio Information Traffic Net. Not taking check-ins on the 443625 Polk repeater. Anybody there call now? This is Kilo Delta 8, Sierra Lima Golf, 88 SLG. Nick in Orville. No traffic. Echo 8, Romeo Whiskey, November, Tom and Midland. Good morning, Jeff. Hi, let's see, I got Kilo Delta 8, Sierra Lima Golf. Good morning, Nick in Orville. Good to hear you this morning, Nick. Nice signal. Good morning, Tom, KERWN. Good signal, Tom. Thank you for checking in. Anyone else on the Polk repeater with or without traffic? Call now. WB8REI, this is the North Central Ohio Information Traffic Net. Now looking for any stations on the Mansfield repeater. That's the 443.075 machine. Call now. Any stations on the Mansfield 443.075 repeater with or without traffic? Call now. Anybody on any of the three Berlin Heights repeaters, 146.805, the 442.675, or the 6-meter 53.29 repeaters? Call now.
This is KM8YOR. Mike, here on proper, no traffic.
November 8, Clean Yankees, Jim, Florida Township.
November 8, X-Ray, Lima, Quebec, Lenny, Huron City, Huron proper as well, in Ohio on Lake Erie. And YouTube is flying. Good morning.
Morning, Mike, KM8YOR, and Huron proper. Sounded good, Mike. Thanks for checking in this morning. Hi, Jim, at AQQI in Florence Township. Nice signal, Jim. Always good to hear you. Got some ISS stuff to talk about later this morning, Jim. You'll be interested in that, and so will some others. And 8XLQ, good morning, Lenny. Good signal, Lenny. Good to hear you. Lenny says YouTube is up, so check out the YouTube page. Take a listen to your signal, see what it looks like, and listen to what it sounds like. Thanks to Lenny for doing that for us. Anyone else on either of the three Berlin Heights repeaters, with or without traffic? Call now. Right, how about the Elyria repeater? That's the 443.9875 repeater. Anybody there with or without traffic? Call now.
Kilo Echo 8 Tango Sierra Victor. Jerry in Grafton. Good morning, Jeff.
Good morning, Joe. This is November 8th, Papa Sierra, Parma.
Kilo Bravo 8 Mike Victor Tango in Overland. Josh, with
right, nice group. See if we got everybody. KE8, Tango Sierra Victor. Good morning, Jerry. Good signal from Grafton this morning. November 8, Papa Sierra. Good morning, Rick. Good to hear you from Parma. Nice signal. Kilo Echo 8, Victor Oscar X-ray. Good morning, Scott, Vermilion Township. Nice signal, Scott. Good to hear you this morning. Kilo Bravo 8, Mike Victor Tango. Good morning, Keith in Oberlin. Nice signal, Keith. Nice to hear you this morning. And good morning, Josh in Avon Lake. And Josh, I'm not sure if I got your call right. I'm not sure if it begins with a Kilo or Alpha. I'm going to go with Alpha first here. Alpha Echo 8, Yankee Uniform Golf. So correct me on that, Josh. I probably got it wrong. Got it. Yeah, the K's and the A's. My old ears sometimes can't distinguish. All right, Kilo Echo 8, Yankee Uniform Golf. Josh at Avon Lake. Nice signal, by the way, Josh. Thanks for checking in. Anyone else on the Illyria repeater with or without traffic called out? An APPS comment. NAPPS. Go ahead, Rick. Josh there, KE8YUG is a first-time check-in. All right, isn't that something? I stopped the guys that checked in numerous times, and I missed the guys that have never checked in. All right, thank you, Rick, for getting my attention on that. NAPPS, WE8REI, KE8YUG, Josh and Avon Lake. All right, well, good morning, Josh. I'm going to turn the radio over to Jim for a moment. He's going to ring a bell for you and get you in the database, and then we'll ask you a couple radio questions here in just a second. KE8ERN, Jim, I'm going to turn it over to you.
KE8YUG, Josh, you are number 273 in our database. Glad to have you aboard. And you got your bell run today. Back to the net, KE8ERN.
Jim, nobody rings that bell like Jim does. All right, fine business. Nice to have another tick in the number of new call signs, 273. Who would have thought? All right, Josh, tell me a little bit about what you're using for your antenna and what you're using for a radio today, and maybe about how long you've been a ham. KE8YUGG, WB8REI, over to you.
KE8YUG, I appreciate the bell ring. I heard about that, so I was looking forward to it. I appreciate that. Thank you, NAPPA. I'm putting that through. I appreciate that as well. Yeah, I just got my license, tactical license, a couple weeks ago. Excuse me, that was NAPPS. I was wrong. Quick. But yeah, I just got my license a couple weeks ago at the AMSET up at the college there in Lorraine, and passed the technical. I'm using just a little bail thing with the Nagia antenna. I do have a little extra microphone on it, and I'm not holding it. I'm testing out. I made a little, they call it a rat tail or tiger tail or counterpoint. I made a little 19.5-inch wire for that. Seems to be helping. I was down here last night and had some pretty good chats with people. So yeah, just a pleasure to be here. I appreciate the welcome from the whole group.
Right. Well, fine business, Josh. Oh, you're gonna be a great amateur radio operator. First of all, not only welcome to the net, but welcome to the hobby. Probably the greatest hobby in the world. We always like to say that, anyways. But man, you're already experimenting with stuff. That's the true spirit of amateur radio. Fine business. Where you're Bofang, your stereo mic, your antenna arrangement, you're doing a fine job. We're glad you found us here. We're glad Rick got you pointed in the right direction. And I'm glad Rick got my attention because we definitely wanted to ring the bell for you here this morning, and we got to do that. So, again, welcome to the net. As you probably already know, we're here every Wednesday morning beginning at 10:15 a.m. And if you ever get a chance to look into the National Traffic System and how to put together a formal NTS message, we can take traffic like that here on this net too. So it's kind of a neat thing if you've never gotten into traffic handling. Might be something you might want to look at down the road there. You can find out all about the National Traffic System anywhere on the internet for sure. All right, again, welcome to the net, Josh. Thanks for checking in. GYUG and the net. This is WV8REI, the North Central Ohio Information Traffic Net. Now, before we get started, are there any other stations, anybody anywhere that would like to check in with or without traffic, call now. And we'll pause as we go along here, give others an opportunity to check in if you didn't get in here in the first round. All right, lots to talk about this morning. Let's first take a look at our WWV report. Solar terrestrial indices for July the 25th, yesterday. So, solar flux, 169. The estimated planetary A index was 11. The estimated planetary K index at 1200 universal coordinated time on today's date, July the 26th, was 3.67. Space weather for the past 24 hours has been minor. Geomagnetic storms reaching the G1 level occurred. Radio blackouts reaching the R1 level also occurred. No space weather storms are predicted for the next 24 hours. Look at the space weather. Right now the solar wind is just hovering just a little under 500 kilometers per second. So we got some solar wind at the moment. Let's see here. Unexpectedly, a coronal mass ejection hit Earth's magnetic field yesterday on July the 25th, sparking a G1 class geomagnetic storm. Happened somewhere between 7:30 and 8 p.m. yesterday evening. Now, it's unclear if this is the early arrival of a coronal mass ejection originally expected on July the 27th, or is it a completely different coronal mass ejection which was previously overlooked. Now, because of the uncertainty, a minor geomagnetic storm watch is still in effect for July 27th. Sunspots on the sun. As a matter of fact, the sunspot number right now is 137. Looking at the X-ray flux, we did experience a pretty good sized Class M solar flare this morning. Would have been about 6:40 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it stayed in the M class until about 10 minutes after 7 this morning. So, once again, when we check with Jim, he listens at 8 o'clock in the morning on the HF bands. We'll see if that had any effect on his noise floor, specifically on 80 and 40 meters, or maybe on propagation conditions in the higher HF bands, 20, 40, 15, and the other higher HF bands. So we'll see. Again, here, this is WV8REI. This is the North Central Ohio Information and Traffic Net. Are there any other stations that would like to check in with or without traffic? Call now. AE8 NNW, Jeff Middleburg Heights, no traffic. Right, Kilo Echo 8, November Whiskey. Jeff, I have you checked in with no traffic. Nice signal, Jeff. Thank you for checking in. And anybody else anywhere, call now. All right. right, let's take a look at our ionogram. Normally, we always get the ionogram from the closest ionosonde to us, which is about 250 miles to our north in Alpena, Michigan. However, we don't have any updates from them for the last 48 hours, so we go to the next closest one. Unfortunately, it's about 550 to 600 miles to our east, but nonetheless, we'll look at it anyway here. It's located at Millstone Hill, Massachusetts. So that's where the ionogram that we're looking at this morning it comes from. So, we'll take it with a little bit of margin where, we're pretty far from it. So let's see here, the critical frequency of the F2 layer right now is 10.338 megahertz. Remember the critical frequency being a reference frequency, signal going straight up, and as you go higher than 10.33 megahertz, the signal never bounces back down. The F1 layer has a critical frequency of its own. It's at 5.29 megahertz. So remember, it's daytime. So right now, the F layer is broken into two separate layers, the F1 layer and the F2 layer. We also have a defined E layer, and the critical frequency of the E layer right now is at 3.76 megahertz. It's kind of interesting here. This is really the first time we ever looked at an ionogram from the ionosonde in Massachusetts. It shows the F2 layer at just a little lower than 400 kilometers high. We usually see it at about 300 kilometers when we look at Alpena, Michigan. But here it's about 390 kilometers high at the F2 layer from the Millstone Hill, Massachusetts ionosonde. So a little different.
It's a light bulb.
Later being higher yet, you're going to get a longer skip distance on that first hop, so it's kind of interesting, something to take into consideration. All right, the MUX, this is the big one. The maximum usable frequency right now at Massachusetts is 26 megahertz. 26 megahertz, so keep that in mind. Take a look at the ionogram, specifically the maximum usable frequency at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time this morning. Now again, this is from the ionogram or ionosonde in Massachusetts, not the one closer to us, but it's the only one we got here this morning. 8 o'clock this morning, the MUF was 16.6 megahertz. 16.6 megahertz. That's what Jim would have been listening this morning. 1200 Universal Coordinated Time on today's date, July the 26th. So we'll see if Jim hears anything much above 20 meters. Be interesting to know. Keep in mind, again, we're looking at data from an ionosonde that's 600 miles away, as opposed to one we usually look at about 250 miles away. Right. That being said, let's go over to Jim. Let's see what he's got for what HFDX beacons he may have heard, and also what his noise floor and S units looks like on the 80 and 40 meter band. KE8ERN, I'll turn it over to you.
This is KE8ERN, and I had 7 beacons heard on 20 meters, and the 3 loudest were New York, Australia, and Japan. And then on the higher frequencies, I had Peru on 17 meters, and nothing on the higher frequencies. The noise floor on those higher frequencies, it was quite noisy. It indicated an S3 on those. And listening on 40 meters, it was S through the whole band. 80 meters was S5 through the whole band. Back to the net, KE8ERN.
Hey, Jim. KE8ERN, the net, WBAREI, and the North Central Ohio Information Traffic Net. Okay, let's follows fairly close. We said we had a month maximum usable frequency out on the east coast of Massachusetts. Just a hair under 17 megahertz. And Jim heard lots of, well, number of 3 or 4 good strong beacons there on the 20-meter band, which would be at 14 megahertz range. So that's sense. He heard a weaker one on Peru, from Peru, on the 17-meter band, and then nothing on the higher band. So that pretty much follows with the muff that we've seen from the ionosphere there in Massachusetts. He mentioned a high noise level on the higher bands. I'm assuming he means 2310 meters, an F3 noise level. So is that maybe related? Could it be related maybe to the earlier solar nation that we had this morning, which would have been a little bit before 8 o'clock this morning. Well, been about an hour before Jim was listening. May or may not, but it's interesting to know he had an F3 noise level when usually I think his noise level is lower than that. Last week he had a noise level of F0. He had no noise floor reading on his F meter on 40 meters. This morning at 8 o'clock he had an F2. So that's 12 dB higher in noise level approximately. So again, maybe that's somewhat related to the solar radiation that was experienced earlier this morning at about 7:40. And then on the 80-meter band, the 80-meter band looks like it was the same as last week. He had an F5 noise floor level all across the whole 80-meter band, and that's what he had last week. So nothing really changed much there. So nothing too drastically changing. Again, we're just sort of doing this to learn some terminology, see if we can match some things up, try to make some sense of some of the numbers we're looking at. And so we'll really appreciate Jim doing that for us. He does it every Wednesday morning at 8 o'clock. He listens for the HFDX beacons all over the world to see which ones he hears on the higher HF band. And then he gives us the noise floor readings on 80 and 40. So really appreciate it, Jim. Thanks a lot for that. I got a lot to talk about here on the tropospheric ducting. Before I do, are there any other stations that would like to check in with or without traffic, or anyone or any returning stations call out?
November 8th, Foxtrot, Mike Juliet, Tom and Sandusky, good morning.
Morning, Jeff. Whiskey 8, Hotel Portable, back deck 5 watts to 1805.
Gee.
Whiskey 8, Tango, Foxtrot, Mike, on my little HT in downtown Europe.
There's a late Romeo X-ray, no traffic, Marblehead.
Kilo Echo 8, November, Charlie, India.
Nice group. I might have missed one in here, but I think I got most of you. WW8H, good morning, Gary. Good signal, Gary. From the HT with 5 watts. Good to hear you this morning. W8TTF, Mike on an HT. Nice signal, Mike. Good to hear you. Kilo Echo 8, Romeo X-ray on Marblehead. Good morning. Nice signal. What's your name, and have you checked into the net before?
Here's Tim, Tango, India, Mike, and I did check in, I think last year sometime. I was mobile on the way to Columbus.
Mind your own business and dog's fine.
This morning, nice signal, by the way. Well, let's check with Jim here if he sees you there in the database. KERN, you see there Kilo Echo 8 Romeo X-ray listed?
Yes, Jeff, we have, Tim listed at, 234. Back to the net, KERN.
Hey, Jim, thank you. Appreciate it. Again, welcome to the net, Jim. Good to hear you. Tim. And we got Kilo Echo 8 November Charlie India. Good morning. And what was your name? Where are you located at? And I have about to ask if you checked in before.
This is Kilo Echo 8 November Charlie India. This is the name. I'm mobile between Macomb and Finley, and I've never been on the net before.
Geez, I don't feel so bad. I finally got one correct. All right. Kilo Echo 8 November Charlie India. Mobile, somewhere around Finley, I think you said there. Oh, good signal, by the way. Sounded real good from the mobile, Chris. Well, thank you for checking in with us. Welcome to the net. Let me send it over to Jim at KERN. He's going to check the database, make sure you're not in there yet. Then he'll put you in, and he will ring the bell for you this morning. KERN, over to you, Jim.
Well, Chris, you are number 274 in our database, and glad to have you aboard. And you had the L wrong. Next on that, KERN.
All right. Thanks, Jim, for doing the bell ringing duties. And there you go, Chris. You got your bell ring. Welcome to the net. We're here every Wednesday morning beginning at 10:15 a.m. And always like to ask new hands, how long have you been at ham? And maybe what you're using for your mobile radio and your antenna there this morning. Back to you.
I've been on ham for about 3 years. I'm running a Icon Mighty 5100A with a Common SSB5 antenna.
All right, we'll find business. 3 years as a ham. I guess we've already been old timers just about. And very good on the ID 5100A and the common antenna. All sounds good. And glad you took a minute to check in here with us this morning. Again, we're here every Wednesday morning. You're welcome to join us. Talk about all kinds of amateur radio related stuff. And also a place for the National Traffic System. If you have traffic, would you like to send, you can bring it here to that and we can take care of that for you too. All right, again, welcome to the net. Any other stations before we continue, with or without traffic? Call out.
November 8th, Foxtrot Mike Juliet. Tom in Sandusky, good morning.
Morning, Tom. November 8th, Foxtrot, Mike, Juliet. Gotcha, Tom. You're the one I missed for that last go around. Apologies for that. I heard you in there. I just lost you in the shuffle here with all these other stations calling in here. Thanks, Tom. Good signal, by the way. Anybody else? KCPX returning no traffic from the OSSBN. Ron, got you back. KAPX, got Ron back here with no traffic. Thank you, Ron, for doing that for us this morning. All right, let's take a look at our tropospheric ducting map. Got some exciting things going on. I'm going to bump the map up just a day or two here. We'll see that things look pretty active here. It's probably the most active I've seen for tropospheric ducting in our part of Ohio in a while. So for you guys that got high-profile 2-meter stations, 2-meter sideband stations, that sort of thing, maybe with some Yagis or whatever, you want to be put some calls out here, and I'll let you know here as I look at the map. So let me bump it up here. And so, for today, it's actually, there's some conditions there's small patches in and around the state that are favorable for tropospheric ducting. But the real excitement begins tonight at 8 p.m., where the very northwestern quadrant of Ohio comes into the moderate level for tropospheric ducting. It begins to increase. It increases right up to high and then into strong for a big portion of northwest Ohio, the northern half of Ohio, and then going all the way to the west into the northern parts of Indiana and into Illinois, up into Michigan. So, boy, if I was a 2-meter guy, I would be looking to operate sometime tomorrow afternoon, 1 or 2 p.m. in the afternoon. Now, we're going to get some weather reports coming up here in a little bit, and that might make things a little bit challenging. But nonetheless, I wanted to bring everybody's attention to that. So I'm going to bump the map along a little bit more. Way up until 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Thursday, July the 28th, the whole northwestern part of Ohio stays in high to strong conditions for tropospheric ducting, as well as the northern half of Indiana and up into lots of Michigan. The whole lower half of Michigan actually is up into the strong to very strong conditions. So there's some big footprints there for good conditions on 2 meters for that type of propagation, tropospheric ducting. Thursday the day as we move into Friday, the wee hours of Friday, 2 a.m. Conditions remain moderate for the northern half of Ohio to high into strong as you move up into Michigan. That continues right into Friday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we remain in moderate conditions. And straight to our north into southeastern Michigan, they get into the very strong to very intense possibilities for ducting. Pushing through the rest of the weekend, and that's pretty much it for the remainder of that week. So Thursday looks like the time, starting early Thursday morning, all day Thursday evening, into the wee hours of Friday. So somebody take a listen, call CQ, and if you think you work some long haul stuff on 2 meters, you think it might have been tropospheric ducting, let us know. We'd like to know. Match it up maybe with some of the archive maps here and try to learn a little bit as we go. All right. Before we go over to Dan, because Dan's going to have hopefully some weather for us and ISS stuff. Before we do that, are there any other stations, with or without traffic, anybody that would like to stick a report, call now? All right. I was just looking at my chat list. I don't have Dan checked in here yet. So let's go to Bob, and let's see what Bob's got for us. And we'll check back here and see if we get Dan. If not, we'll get some weather information. Let's see what Bob's got for us on the special event stations, Hamfest, and the test sessions that might be coming up here. WAAGBT, I'll turn it over to you, Bob.
Okay, good enough, Jeff. Call me a little wiper Dan myself there. Anyway, we don't have any Hamfest in Ohio this weekend, but there is one right in the edge of Indiana that sounds interesting, and I'm planning on going to it. The Auburn, Indiana Hamfest is on Saturday, July 29th, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. They have setup times 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. for vendors. They have free admission, free parking, and it's at the Auburn Court Duesenberg Museum, and so the museum is free. Part of the indoor part of the Hamfest is actually inside the museum, so I think it's kind of a small Hamfest, but that's kind of interesting when they throw that in. They are selling raffle tickets, and they do have door prizes. Talk-in is 147.015, and the PO tone is 141.3. As far as special event stations, there's quite a few this weekend, starting today even. One is the National Jamboree, Boy Scout National Jamboree, and didn't have a lot of information on it, but they apparently will have a special event station operating, K2 and BSA, and I read a note, apparently they had some funding problems, weren't sure they would have that, but as of now they are planning operations on 40 meters and up, probably just bone operations. Also, a couple of special event stations from the Air Venture, the EAA Air Venture, which is going on right now. The one is ICOM is sponsoring the Warbirds special event station, and July 24th to the 30th. The operations will take place on 40 through 10 meters. They're only listing phone on each of the bands, but I already worked them on FT8, so they obviously are doing FT8 also, and their call is W9W. So the other EAA Air Venture special event is W9ZL, and they're operating July 24th to the 30th, 1300 Zulu to 1700 Zulu, and they'll be operating, they're just showing phone on 20 meters, 40 meters, and 6 meters. A couple of others, this weekend, celebrating the 103rd anniversary of the city of San Benito. It's July 29th to the 30th, and they're operating 1200 Zulu to 1200 Zulu, I assume, for the entire 2 days. And their call is WA2 Victor Juliet Lima, and they're operating from San Benito, Texas. And they're listing, they're only showing 15 meters and 10 meters phone portion. Another one, historical West Virginia Penitentiary, July 29th, 1200 Zulu to 2000 Zulu. It's W8ZQ, and they're from Moundsville, West Virginia. They're operating on 40 and 20 meter phone. Another one, the Quad City Times Bix 7 49th annual race, and they're July 29th from 1300 Zulu to 2100 Zulu. Call letters W0 BXR from Davenport, Iowa, and they're operating 40 and 10 meters phone. So there's 20 meters on that. Next one is World Ranger Day, and that's July 29th to the 31st, 1400 Zulu to 2359. Their call is W4R from Dallas, Georgia, and they're operating on, looks like all of the HF bands, 80 on up, and just show phone portion of it. One final one, the youth operators making worldwide HF QSOs, and that's July 29th to the 30th, and that's 1300 to 100 Zulu, call letter W3Y from West Middlesex, Pennsylvania, and they're operating all bands, all modes, and there's a local connection with that. Apparently it's the Dayton Amateur Radio Association is sending a group of 4 or 5 youth operators to that event. And it's the Dave Calder Memorial Youth DX Adventure is what they're titling it. And generally any information on the on special event stations you can find at arrl.org and look under operating events, and they do have a list of most of them there. Some of them they don't list there, so you got to kind of hunt out, and if you hear the calls, especially the one-by-one calls, you can generally find a good description of it on QRZ if you look that call up. So JBT for ID, and continuing as far as test stations, there's a couple on the weekend. There is a Finley test station tomorrow night at 7 p.m. They have started in, they've added one evening test station a month. They do one on the weekend every month, and then they now added one on 1:30 in the evening every month. And it'll be tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. They don't say walk-ins are allowed. Generally they are, but it'd probably be a good idea to call ahead to make sure. Contact is Roger Wheat, and his number is 419-581-7037. And the testing is at Finley Radio Clubhouse, 1333 West Sandusky Street in Finley. And on the weekend, there are a couple of stations in East Ohio on July 29th, 12 p.m. No walk-ins, register or call ahead. The contact is Earl Basic, and his number is 740-504-1950. And the test station will be held at St. Leonard Catholic Church, 57 Dorsey Mill Road East in Heath, Ohio. Also, on Saturday, Wasion, Ohio, there's a station at 9 a.m. No walk-ins allowed there either. And the contact is Sandra Schwind, and her number is 419-906-3104. And the location is at the Fulton County Museum and Welcome Center, 8848 State Highway 108 in Wasion. And as usual, there's still about 24 different groups giving online testing, and you can find that at arrl.org under Licensing, Education, and Training, or you can go to handstudy.org, and they have a pretty good search and chart, shows all the online and in-person testing. With that, I'll turn it back to you, Jeff, W8JBT.
Thank you for all the good information there. Appreciate it. Looks like some nice special events definitely going on. I really like the one there that the group of youth there that are operating from Pennsylvania there. We'll have to listen for those for that group of kids there. That's really interesting. They said a group of 4 or 5 young hands up from the Dayton Ham Club, and we'll have to be listening for them. Yeah, absolutely. They're at that big station there in Pennsylvania, and they'll probably, I'm sure will have a really good time. Make lots of contacts worldwide without any problems, for sure. Anybody got any questions on anything that Bob covered? You need any information repeated or any comments called out? Maybe another comment? Go ahead, Bob.
I just thought of something when I was looking at that station in Pennsylvania. K3LR is supposed to be the world's, somewhere in here I saw a note, is supposed to be the largest station, I guess, for DXing in the world. And I've traveled through Pennsylvania a lot, and I think it was on I-76, somewhere out in the middle of Pennsylvania. There was a station, Sturba curtain, right along the freeway, and it kind of stands out, but I never was able to figure out who it belonged to or what it was there for. W8JBT.
Okay. Yeah, so K3LR, that's Tim Duffy. That's his big station there. And yeah, I'm sure you can find out some more information about it. And yeah, I guess it's viewable there from the interstate, I believe. And there's a good chance that's what you were actually viewing. I've never seen it, but I've heard others comment about it before. Yeah, Tim Duffy, K3LR, good guy. Put together quite a station out there. And that's why I say I think the group that they send there, the youth group, they're going to have a good time and make lots of contacts. Should be pretty exciting for them. That's why I say I think it's this weekend. I got the dates jotted down here, so I'll definitely be listening for them, see if I can catch them on what would be, I guess, considered a local contact. Anyway, very good. Fine business, Bob. Anything else?
No, it just kind of rung a bell there when I read that again. I thought about it. I have been past there a number of times, and it's pretty close to the to Iowa, and it's about in the middle of Pennsylvania. And the only other surf curtain I've ever seen was the one they used to have at Voice of America in Cincinnati, WAGVT.
Very good. Interesting. Yeah, that's quite an antenna, curtain antenna. I just wanted to leave a pause in case somebody else might have wanted to jump in here and have some comments. I'm sure there's folks probably over in the northeastern part of Ohio that are somewhat more familiar with that station that probably know a little bit about it. But I know there's a lot of information about it on the internet, so I'll have to definitely take a look at that. But it's really nice what he does with that big station, especially when it comes to getting young people involved in amateur radio. I think that's super cool. All right, thank you very much, Bob. WAGBT and that WBREI in North Central Ohio Information Traffic Net. Are there any other stations with any comments or queries or anything else Bob covered or any other late check-ins? Call on. All right, let's take a look at the Ohio section. Looks like nice stuff up there. Gentleman's got stuff he says he needs to move these items quickly. He says make an offer on any or all of the equipment listed below. His name is Pat. I'll give you his email address here in just a moment. Let's go down and see what he's got here. He's got some radios. He's got a Yaesu FT1802M. He has a Yaesu Victor X-Ray 7R handheld. Here with the swap shop. Pat's got a Yaesu F1-470 handheld. He says it needs battery. He's got a realistic 10-meter HX100 single sideband radio. He has a JC Penny 40-channel single sideband radio. And he has a Yaesu antenna rotator and the controller, the G800DXA. Oh, he's got some antennas. He's got a Cushcraft Alpha Foxtrot. That's a 10, 15, and 20-meter beam. He's got a Cushcraft Ringo antenna. He thinks it's an AR2. He's got two of them. And he has a Samtex power supply, Sierra Echo Charlie 1235M. He says it's less than 1 year old. And it's also got a Unit Beer BX125AT and a Realistic Pro 202.3. He's got two Koss headphones. He's got one Venture Bravo Yankee-1 key. And he has 3 sections of tower. They're free if you remove them. Unfortunately, it doesn't tell where Pat's located here, but if you're interested in any of this or you have some questions for Pat, you can contact him at his email address, which is the letter P. Robertson, that's ROBERTSON, the number 1, at neo.rr.com. He says cash or money order will work. Again, that's P. Robertson, the number 1, at neo.rr.com. For sale, a Yaesu FT818 is like new with the box and all the original paperwork and its supplied accessories and added single sideband filter. The LDG is the 817 auto tuner with the cables. It's got the portable zero rails and spider wrap. So if you're interested in the FT818 and all the other goodies there, contact Kilo Echo 8 Delta Romeo Romeo at gmail.com. That's Troy. We recognize Troy's call sign there, so get a hold of Troy if you're interested in that Yaesu FT818 and the other item he has listed here. Looks like a pretty a deal. Also for sale. Cars is selling a Kenwood TS590 with a magic speaker. Price is $950. If you're interested, contact Alpha Charlie 8 November Tango at Alpha Charlie 8 November Tango at Juliet, the number 3, solutions.com. Zip through this last list here. This is from Ken, WAKWH in Delaware, Ohio. Now, a lot of this stuff could be gone already. He was down at the Mansfield Trump Fest. But we'll list it anyway and give him a call if you think you might be interested in these items. You may still have them. He's got an Ameritron ALS 600 solid state amp, $1,100. Ameritron Alpha Lima 80 Bravo 3-500Z amp, $1,300. Is a Zygu XP-125, it's a 100-watt QRP amp with the tuner, $375. An LDG AT 600 Pro 2 auto tuner, $300. Last time he has listed here is a Flex Maestro B as a boy, complete set with the case, $1,400. Again, if you're interested, contact Ken, Whiskey 8 Kilo Whiskey Hotel in Delaware, Ohio, and his email address, which is his call sign, Whiskey 8 Kilo Whiskey Hotel at yahoo.com. Again, if you got something you want to sell, trade, or give away, or if your club's doing a fundraiser, well, check out the terms and conditions there at the Ohio Section Swap Shop webpage. You can find the link, or just Google Ohio Section Swap Shop. You'll find out all the ways that you can get your information posted there. Before we continue, are there any other stations with or without traffic? Anyone else would like a signal report call now? Lots of stuff going on. Matter of fact, well, when we get to the end of the net here, we'll kind of summarize 3 different activities that are going to be going on here today. The first one has to do with amateur radio on the International Space Station. Take a look at what's happening there. We talked about this last week. And they're going to do something a little bit different here today because it has to do with the ARRL Teachers Institute on wireless radio. Amateur radio on the International Space Station, in collaboration with the American Radio Relay League, plans to carry out a special slow scan TV experiment from the International Space Station on Wednesday, July the 26th. That's today's date. It says that during the event, the Columbus module repeater, transmitting at 437.8 megahertz, carry a message to be received by teachers attending the ARRL Teachers Institute on wireless technology professional development class. So what it sounds to me like is they're going to send slow scan TV information, and they're going to do it via the crossband repeater. So normally we listen on VHF on 145.800. That's normally the way they always do the slow scan TV images. But for this particular event with the school teachers at the ARRL, they're going to transmit the information on the downlink frequency of the crossband FM repeater. So in this case, you want to have your radio tuned to 437.800. Fans will be over the Mid-Atlantic and New England area with transmission scheduled to begin at 16:05 Eastern Standard Time. So right around 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time this afternoon is when you might want to tune your UHF radio to 437.800. Have your slow scan TV software ready to decode or capture the data, then you can decode it at your leisure, or you can decode it in real time. The pass again begins at 4:05 Eastern Standard Time, and it ends at 4:20 Eastern Standard Time. That's today. If necessary, a backup window is scheduled. Basically, they're going to do the next ISS pass when it comes back around again, which will be at 5:40 Eastern Standard Time, and that will last until 5:55 Eastern Standard Time. So hopefully you can catch it there on that first one, or just a little bit before 4 o'clock, or right around 4 p.m. would be a good time to be listening. And again, you're going to want to be listening with your SoScan TV software on 437.800. Radio enthusiasts are welcome to download the message. So apparently it isn't just an image. They must have some information that they're going to have in the image. I'm just guessing. So you're welcome to download the message and follow along with the event. But it is asked that all hands refrain from using the repeater for voice contacts during this event. So keep that in mind. Don't be talking to the crossband FM repeater on those passes. It's a special experiment and it's conducted through the amateur radio on the International Space Station and the American Radio Relay League. Now, after the experiment has concluded, normal operations of the repeater should resume in voice mode only. So keep that in mind, even though it sounds like they're going to use it for slow scan TV images. When you go back to using it your normal way, you'll use it just as a voice mode only crossband FM repeater. You got any questions on that, or comments, or anything you want to add to it? Maybe you came across something that I didn't hear, or shine a little more light on that pass. Anybody? Like to do a quick check-in if I could, KCAPU. Hi, Dan. I got you. KCAPU. I had you checked in, Dan. And I know you're probably out at the fair. We're getting ready to do our weather report here, and it just dawned on me. I was looking down my list. I didn't see you checked in yet, and I thought, I'm probably running out at the fair at the fair booth. If it's a good time for you to do the weather in the ISS passes, I'll turn it over to you. If it's not convenient yet, just let me know. Over to you. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for squeezing me in here. Quite honestly, I got so involved with the fair, I just kind of overlooked today was Wednesday in the jump net. So I don't have anything prepared. But the big story is going to be the weather for later on today. We're under an enhanced risk of severe. Most of northwest Ohio is, and quite a bit of Ohio is under a slight risk. So my advice to everybody is to tune in to local news. Get some this, or even your evening stuff. It may not have hit yet in the evening, but there's a real potential for some severe weather moving through parts of Ohio today. I'm going to be attending of the National Weather Service here too, so I'll know more of that. So this will probably turn out to be a Skyward event, so everybody heads up on the weather, and I'll try to get things back to normal next week, Jeff. Thanks so much. KCAPU. Yeah, very good. Oh, I figured you were busy out there, and say hello to everybody out there for us. Hope to get out there yet this week a couple nights. And thanks for the weather heads up and information. Appreciate that. So everybody listening, you might want to pay attention to your local Skymore repeaters. Check the National Weather Service forecast, especially for later today and this evening. And if weather conditions call for Skymore nets, I'm sure everybody will be ready to activate. All right, thanks Dan for the information, and let's see here where we're at. Let's pause again here and see if we have any other stations with or without traffic. The North Central Ohio Information and Traffic Net, call out. attention all emergency communicators. Now this is from Matthew Curtin, Kilo Delta 8 Tango Tango Echo. He says an agency in the state of Ohio will be conducting a field exercise in the coming weeks, and they're going to be looking for observations from the field. Says it's not a free form or general request. It is information in a specific format that may be transmitted by voice or print digitally. You can even participate via email. So participation is easy, it's fun, and it helps to develop and maintain critical emergency communications. So what do you got to do? Well, first you got to install the FL Message application if you haven't already. So you're going to need that to organize the information, even if you're not going to transmit it digitally, he says. FL Message is available for Mac, Windows, and Linux. And you can get the links to all this, the Ohio section's latest news here. That's what I'm looking at right here on page 14. The other thing you need to do is you need to install the Field Site Rep Custom Form. You can get the Field Site Rep Custom Form. You just find a zip file with the form at the blackswancomics.org link. Again, you can get it on page 14 of the Ohio Section News. You're going to need that. And then send your Field Site Rep. Step-by-step instructions are available online. There's a link to tell you exactly how to send it. Address your Field Site Rep to Kilo Delta 8 Tango Tango Echo. Now you can send it either via Black Swan Net or via WinLink. Now if you don't have either option, you may use internet email. However, you want to address it to Kilo Delta 8 Tango Tango Echo at winlink.org, and it has to have the subject field /Whiskey Lima 2 Kilo. The letter P is a Papa /Field Site Rep. All one word, Field Site Rep. That says thanks for supporting the security and resilience of your communities in the state of Ohio. So that's a lot of information. Again, just look up the Ohio Section News, the latest edition, page 14 of the Ohio Section News. That way you can find those links. They tell you exactly step by step how to get the Field Site Rep Custom Form, how to actually send it via the Black Swan Net or via WinLink. So if you want to do that, page 14 Ohio Section News, you'll find the links there. WBREI, this is the North Central Ohio Information and Traffic Net. Got some information on 6-meter repeaters, and I think you'll find it interesting. This is from our friend up there in very northwest Ohio, the Toledo area. Wants an obscure band for fear of interference with television. That's the 6-meter band. A few years back, the Toledo Mobile Radio got the idea to put up a 6-meter repeater. Why, you ask? Well, one of the biggest reasons is the band is not often used. Now, many, if not all, newer HF rigs have 6-meter FM capability. So those with newer radios already have a 6-meter radio. Now, this is an interesting point they make. You can use a 2-meter 5/8 wave antenna on 6 meters. It is a good match, and 6-meter mobile radios are available. So 6 meters is the magic band, and you never know when the magic will happen. There's also a very good band for repeater use. Entry-level licenses can also be used on the band. Here's the WBREI, the North Central Ohio Information Traffic Net. Just cover a little more information here on the 6-meter repeaters from the guys up at Toledo. The repeater antenna doesn't have to be very high in order to make it into a useful repeater on 6 meters. And yes, the cans are large, but there are ways around that. Now, even so, simplex works well on 6 meters as well. Ohio, there are 6-meter nets. They're held on Wednesdays, and it uses a PL code of 103.5. That's a Toledo mobile radio that has that 6-meter repeater. Now, here's the list of 6-meter nets. They all start at 9 p.m. and they do something a little bit different. And it's always Wednesday. It's always the first, second, third, fourth, and fifth Wednesday of the month at 9 p.m. So the first Wednesday of the month, here's what they got. First Wednesday of the month, 9 p.m., 50.4 megahertz, AM mode. Remember, AM mode, first Wednesday of the month, 50.4. Second Wednesday of the month, FM mode, 52.525. Third Wednesday of the month, upper sideband mode, 50.125. Then the fourth Wednesday of the month, back to FM mode, 52.525. Then the fifth Wednesday of the month, there's also FM mode on 52.525. So hey, please join us on the air. And again, those are all Wednesdays, and they're all at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, a little additional information. Thursdays at 9 p.m., there is also a net. It's on 50.255 megahertz upper sideband. Again, that's on Thursdays at 9 p.m. Don't forget, if you're in the Toledo area, or check how far you can work at the 6-meter repeater, which is in downtown Toledo, your transmit is 52.11 with a PL tone of 103.5, and you receive on 53.11. Best regards, and that's for WATER. So some good information on some 6-meter repeater net. So hopefully you all got that jotted down. Got 6-meter radio, so take a listen, check in. Might be pretty interesting. Why don't you give that a try here? So don't forget already, there's 2 things going on today. You got the International Space Station special slow scan TV transmissions beginning right around 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Well, remember now on the UHF frequency, that's going on today, this afternoon. And then don't forget tonight at 9 p.m. Let's see, I don't know which Wednesday we're at. We're at the third Wednesday or the fourth Wednesday. You'll want to check the schedule. Fourth Wednesday is 52.525 FM. If it's the third Wednesday, it's 50.125 upper sideband. So again, don't forget the Northwest Ohio 6-meter net that runs tonight at 9 p.m. It's one other IM parent event that's going to happen here tonight. WBREI, the North Central Ohio Information and Traffic Net. Are there any other stations that would like to check in with or without traffic? Any comments, queries, anything before we continue? All right, just a reminder also, as we get toward the end of the net, we'll be looking at the Yaesu FT991A. We'll specifically be looking at the phase lock loop unit. That's the schematic and maybe part of the block diagram that we'll be concentrating on here towards the end of the net. So the idea is pull the diagram out, take a look at it. If you can identify any component, schematic diagram component, any participation or involvement in the discussion will earn you 1 point towards a lotto ticket. Whoever reaches the highest point count will win the lotto ticket for the end of the event, which is today yet, and then next week will be the last week on the FT991A. So again, you can Google Yaesu FT 991A service manual. There's lots of links there. Find one. They're all pretty similar. And we'll be, again, concentrating on the phase lock loop unit. So have it ready, and we'll be talking about that towards the end of that. More information from the guys in Lucas County to our northwest here. So Lucas County area has been asked to help with this year. The Sylvania Super Kids is Saturday, July 29th, this Saturday, and the Sylvania Triathlon is Sunday, July 30th. Events have a start time of 7:30 a.m. and they take place in and around Olander Park. The Super Kids is usually finished by 10:30, and the triathlon finishes at 1 p.m. Now, most of the positions for the triathlon do not last the whole time. If you'd like to volunteer or want more information, please contact K8RKS at K8RKS@ARRL.net, or you can call them at 419-471-0573. Please consider giving some of your time to one or both of these great events. Now, if you are interested or you want to kind of find out a little bit more about the Super Kids and the Sylvania Triathlon, you can go to page 16 of the latest edition of the Ohio Section News. There you'll find links to the appropriate web pages for the Sylvania Triathlon and the Super Kids. And again, thanks for your consideration. Vern Snow, Whiskey Victor Hotel Sierra. He's Lucas County Amateur Radio Emergency Services person. He is the emergency coordinator in Sylvania, Ohio. And he lists his phone number, which is 419-619-8600. That's for Vern Snow, WAVHS. All right, let's identify again here. This is WPAREI. This is the North Central Ohio Information and Traffic Net. Moving along kind of quickly here this morning. I mentioned that there were three things that were going to be happening here today. We've already covered the first two. The ISS pass at 4 p.m. on UHF for the slow scan TV transmission, and then the 6-meter net that will take place tonight at 9 p.m. One other thing that's going to be going on tonight has to do with the Ohio QSO party. A lot of people have been asking about it. It's a Zoom meeting all about the Ohio QSO party. So let's take a look at everything here. We'll get down to the details of how you get to the Zoom meeting. So get on the air as Rare DX with no travel costs. Well, not really, Rare DX, but there are no travel costs, and you will be in demand as a multiplier if you join us for the annual Ohio QSO party on August 26th. As an Ohio station, stations from Ohio, the United States, and the world will want to work you. For more information on the QSO party, join me Wednesday, and that's not me. There's another gentleman here. We'll get to the bottom here. We'll see who this is. Says, join me for the Ohio QSO party and the other state QSO parties and state QSO party challenge. So there's a number of things going on. This will be hosted by the Cuyahoga Falls Amateur Radio Club, Charlie Foxtrot Alpha Radio Charlie. They're going to give you a background on the QSO parties, because it's not just the Ohio QSO party, but they got some new stuff going on now too. So the focus will be on the Ohio QSO party. Find out everything you need to know to set up and operate in this event. They will discuss other state QSO parties that you might want to try and how your entries can count double if you participate in something called the state QSO Party Challenge. Now, that's something new. They will also have tips if you are just getting started on HF operations. They will cover methods for logging, including computer logging, and they'll have plenty of time to address some questions. Now, if you want to attend in person, to be in their area, it's going to be held at the Pilgrim United Church of Christ Social Hall at 130 Broad Boulevard in Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio, and it's conveniently just off Route 8. Now, for the rest of us, if you want to join via a Zoom meeting, please use the activity meeting link at the Cuyahoga Falls Amateur Radio Club's website, which is www.charliefoxtrot.alpha-romeo-charlie.org. And, there you'll find the link to the Zoom meeting. Now, if you have other questions, you can email Kilo 8 Zulu Tango at Kilo 8 Zulu Tango at charliefoxtrot.alpha-romeo-charlie.org. Just to kind of sum up the state QSO parties, it asks you, well, why participate? Well, they're friendly. Atmosphere-friendly, laid-back competition. A chance to connect with old friends around the state. Making for great club competitions, both between club members and between local clubs. Second part is it's a great activity for new contesters. It's a more laid-back atmosphere than many high-pressure major contests. It has both single sideband and CW options to work. Some have been adding digital options. It's a shorter duration contest, and there are many opportunities throughout the year for these QSO parties. So get involved. If you've never done one, they're a lot of fun. You might find you get addicted to them. They're really a good time. There's your third activity going on all today, right? So all today, you want to know about the Ohio QSO parties, go to the Cuyahoga Falls Amateur Radio Club's website and find the link to the Zoom meeting. Looking to see if they list the time here yet. I don't see a time listed, but if you go to the Cuyahoga Falls Amateur Radio Club's webpage, which is www.charliefoxtrot.amateurradiocharlie.org, there's a good chance you'll find the time and the start of their meeting, and they'll have the link there and all the information you need to connect via Zoom. So it'll be tonight. Find the time. Sorry, I don't have it here in front of me. I wish I should have gotten it, but I don't have it. So definitely check that out, and don't miss it if you want to learn a little bit about the QSO party. This is WVREI in North Central Ohio Information and Traffic Net. A little more to cover here before we get into some technical stuff. Before we do, are there any other stations with traffic call out? Hey, Victor, Julia, Victor, this is Tom in Nevada. No traffic, 10-1. Hey, good morning, Tom. Kilo Echo 8, Victor, Juliet, Victor in Nevada. Nice signal, Tom. Thank you for checking in with us this morning. Anybody else? Right, well, let's keep going here. I would like to look at Bill, Alpha Juliet 8 Bravo's information on DX. He's always got some information interesting to talk about. Learn some new terminology, that kind of thing. So he says the DX is spot this article. He says, in the old days, say around the late 1970s, many DXers would participate in a phone chain.
Interesting.
When a DXer worked or heard a new or rare country, they would call one or two people with details such as the call sign, frequency, mode, and any other pertinent information that would be needed to work the DX station. Those hands would then call two others to let them know that a specific entity had been spotted, and the process would continue until all those hands who agreed to participate would be contacted. Bill says he was part of this chain years ago, and his family would not be thrilled for him to get a call at 2 a.m., even though he was. Into the early 80s we go, and the process moved from landline phones to 2-meter simplex frequencies or repeaters. Now, eventually, special software for computers was utilized that would allow the lucky hand to enter all the appropriate information into a screen, and then it would be passed along as a spot to any other hands who happen to be connected to this special spotting network. This way, thousands of hands in a large geographic area would be notified of the DXer. Each of the DXers who were heard or spotted would be called spots. Today, it is much simpler. He says his logging software collects spots from all over the country and compares it against his logbook to determine if he needs that country for an award or awards. If so, an announcement is made at his home station, and a text message is sent to his phone. And he says the software also checks the origination of the spot. That's important because it would not benefit him to know that a DX station, let's say in Mali, was heard in England. Well, interesting information. I always kind of wondered how they did the spotting before the spotting network, so kind of a phone tree sort of thing. So that was kind of cool. I know here at my own home QTH, I have spotting announcements that are made that go out over my UHF repeater, and I love it. It's super cool. I walk around with my HT, and I hear a country that I need, well, I make a beeline right to the radio, and it just works out pretty good. So there you go, a little terminology called spots, kind of the thing, boy, they did things years ago. This is WB8REI. This is the North Central Ohio Information and Traffic Net. Just continuing here, we wanted to talk a little bit about some of the things that the PRRL has been doing for us or been involved with representing us here. And so we talked about this, I think, a few weeks back, but I wanted to mention it here again, and it has to do with commercial interests are petitioning the FCC for high power allegations on the shortwave spectrum. Now, I don't know if any of you remember, but it's probably been over a year ago, but we talked about commercial entities using HF radio for things like stock trading, because there's very little latency in an HF signal. Believe it or not, it's much quicker than via fiber optic and other forms like satellite, which has really got a lot of latency. So a lot of interest in the HF radio band from a commercial standpoint. So let's see what they have to say here. So the ad hoc group called Shortwave Modernization Coalition petitioned the Federal Communications Commission to allow data communications on multiple bands within the HF 2 to 25 megahertz range with up to 20 kilowatts, including 20 kilowatts, including in-band immediately adjacent to spectrum allocated to the amateur radio service. Now, this group appears to represent high-speed stock trading interests. is treating the petition as a subject of concern for its members and the greater amateur radio service. ARRL laboratory staff are studying the matter from a technical standpoint, including analysis of transmitted signals potentially interfering with amateur radio communications on amateur radio spectrum. The results from this expert review are being finalized and will inform ARRL's filed comments on the matter. The FCC has assigned a petition RM 11953. Again, if you're interested, the petition is Romeo Mike 11953. Comments are due by July 31st of this year, and reply comments are due by August 15th. All petitioners exclude the amateur bands. High power operations on immediately adjacent bands are proposed. Now, there is a copy of the petition. There's a link to the copy of the petition. It's at the ARRL's website. If you look for the news article titled Commercial Interest Petition FCC for High Power Allocation on Short Wave Spectrum, you'll find it. It's dated July 11th of this year. A little update on some things that are going on with the FCC, the American Radio Relay, and all fan radio operators. And I'm going to talk about something else here, kind of fun here in just a second. And then we're going to get into a little bit on the, well, quite a bit actually. We'll cover the dues increases from the American Radio Relay League. Kind of pass them along to folks that may already be aware, and for those of you that have not heard that yet. All right, so last week we talked a little bit about the Maritime Radio Historical Society. What a wonderful organization. If you have not yet looked at their website, go to the Maritime Radio Historical Society webpage. You can Google it, and you will find some of the most interesting information about the ship-to-shore stations, the historical radio, and the commercial CW stations and radio stations. Extremely interesting. They do a lot of the CW testing for qualifying runs for W1AW on the West Coast. Those guys do that. And then they also run all kinds of really, really cool and interesting events. And one of them took place this past week. Maybe somebody had a chance to get involved. I seen a couple guys that did. This was last Saturday, July 22nd. They actually transmitted an actual World War II U-boat message in CW from a commercial CW transmitting site with the original equipment from years gone by, and it was encrypted. And it was encrypted with the Enigma, the German Enigma machine from World War II. And the challenge, of course, was to copy the message in CW first, of course. Once you copy the message from one of the CW commercial frequencies, then you wanted to run the encrypted cipher code through the Enigma machine, of which you probably know one has one, right? So they have online simulators, and that allows you to decode the message. There were nice certificates that will be awarded. And I thought it was interesting, the first certificate, there'll be one awarded to whomever the first station was to successfully decrypt the Enigma message and email it back to the National Radio Historical Society with its timestamp on it. Whichever one got back there first will get a special certificate for being the first one to decode the message. And let me tell you, the first time doing that was a little bit of a challenge for me. And to get it done in less than an hour should have took me way less time than that. But then you're running a little problems every time you do things like that. But it was so fun. They also award a certificate to anyone that has an actual or actually decrypts the message using an actual Enigma machine or a copy built Enigma machine. You have to take a photograph of your key settings and you email that photograph along and prove that you have one of those machines. If you did it, you'll get a special certificate for that. In the last category was anybody that was able to successfully decode the Enigma message from the U-boat and had it sent successfully to the Maritime Radio Historical Society within 72 hours of the transmission. You would qualify also for an electronic emailed certificate. Yeah, it was super cool. I really had a blast doing it. For anybody that was involved with it, maybe we'll get some comments from maybe some people that might have tried it. I'm going to just read off the header. It's CW, the header that I copied of the actual transmission. Now, this is not the ciphertext. The ciphertext followed the header. Now, some of these words are German words. The first word was Donitz, D-O-N-I-T-Z. The second word was just initials F-R. The last word was look, L-O-O-K-S, followed by the time, 2013 Zulu, followed by the word October, spelled with a K, by the way, October, followed by the number 7, so October 7th, then it was said break, followed by the number 100. 100 was the number of actual characters in the message, 100 characters. There were 20 groups of 5, or excuse me, 20 groups of 5 letters each for a total of 100. Followed by the actual daily key in clear text, followed by the encrypted daily key. Everybody that was following along that might have copied it, it was Donitz, FR, look, 2013 Zulu, October 7, break, 100, break, Delta Bravo Kilo, Whiskey Sierra Echo, break. After that, there were 25 groupings of just random, there were just characters. It was called cipher code, the actual message. Here's the actual message I sent. My decoded Enigma message at 4:54:03 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on July 22nd. This went to crypto@radiomarine.org. So here is the unencrypted message. Forced to submerge during attack. X-ray. Depth charges. X-ray. Last enemy position. Grid. AJ. 9. Now these numbers are spelled out. N-I-N-E 9. 8. 6. 3. X-ray. I am following. That's the end of the message. And copy that on commercial frequency 17.0168 megahertz. I had a signal report which was an S6. We wait to hear back whether or not we were successful. I did a little research on that grid, that actual grid, Alpha Juliet 98 That is an actual grid location based on the format that the Germans used in the German U-boats. So I felt pretty confident about my coordinate and how I unencrypted it. Anybody else out there got any comments? Anybody else did it on out? Yeah. Hey, PX, hey, Ron, go ahead.
Yeah, that was a nice, that was a fun event, but it really was. It made me pull what little hair I have in my head out, but decoding it. But it copies the message word for word exactly as you just spoke it, and did submit it. And so we'll see. But yeah, it was difficult figuring out the message key. It's where it stumbled me. I did not realize that I had to encrypt the message key in order to get the decrypted message key to put up there in the wheel. So it was very interesting. I really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to seeing what they sent me.
Fine business, Ron. Yeah, I've been watching too, so I haven't seen it. They haven't sent anything out yet, other than they did acknowledge that they had great participation for the event, and everybody liked it. So now we'll wait and probably take them a little while to get all the information compiled, and then they'll send out the electronic files for the certificates. But hey, yeah, real fine. Absolutely, it was the challenge was in the procedure for decrypting it. Now, I ran into a different problem than you ran into, a different challenge that was confusing me. There were some videos on how to do it, and it was ambiguous. There was almost like a couple different ways that you could actually come up with the daily key and the monthly key in the code book. It was kind of contradictory, and so that confused me for a little bit. But how clever was that? Where the Germans sent in clear text the first three letters of the daily key, and then the second three letters were encrypted for the daily key. So then you had to punch those in and get your actual daily key. I thought that was really, really interesting. Anyway, very good. Ron, let me know when you get your certificate, and if I hear any more, I'll be sure to pass it along here too. But it was really, really interesting. What else, Ron? You got anything else?
I also copied it on the 17 megahertz band, and I put down 559 as far as the receiving. So very close to what you were able to receive it as. I just used my dipole, my 160-meter dipole antenna that I use for a lot of everything. And I had good reception. I had good reception from several bands, but 17 was the best. That's all I got. It was a great little event.
Come on, dog.
All right. Well, glad you got to get involved with it, Ron, and you enjoyed it. I thought it was really fun. I'm looking forward to next year now. I have some ideas on how I'm going to be able to do it a little quicker and see if I can't get in there, or at least compete with some other people to try to get in there as the first one, which will be tough. That'll be tough to do. Some will probably were done in just a matter of minutes. But anyway, fine business on your signal report. Super interesting. Yeah, I had an S6 here, 559. Yeah, probably very similar signal strength. I think I used a 20-meter dipole for that one. And you know what I did? I just went to I went to check the ionoson. I picked the maximum usable frequency, the closest one to it, which just so happened to be at the 17 megahertz frequency, and that put me on the strongest one. I quick looked around some of the other ones, and they just weren't as good for me. But I got to tell you, it was almost armchair copy at 15 words a minute. So it turned out really, really good. All right. Anybody else, any comments or queries or questions about the Enigma transmission this past Saturday? By the way, that was from the commercial CW station, not amateur, but from the commercial Kilo Papa Hotel in California. Anybody else? Any final comments or queries, and then we'll move on. All right, man, we're getting way behind here. Let's see. We want to zip through real quick here on the ARRL membership. By now, everybody's probably aware of what's been going on with it. If you get a chance, check out the ARRL President Rick Roderick, K5UR. He's got the message to the members all about the increase in the dues and all that kind of stuff. It's in an ARRL member bulletin dated July 23rd of this year. We went down through that, but we're running really short on time here. Let me take a quick run over here, give you an idea, all right? So, membership types in the United States, for all the benefits of the ARRL membership, plus the 4 digital magazines, that's going to go to $59 a year, $59 for 1 year. For those are the digital magazines, not the printed magazine. If you want the printed QST magazine, the 12 issues of QST via standard mail, you have to have the membership of $59, along with $25 additional for the printed QST magazine. That also goes if you decide you want the printed version of On the Air magazine, of which there are just 6 issues. That comes out bi-monthly. Again, membership required $59 and an additional $25 if you want the printed version of On the Air magazine. You can get the 12 issues of QST via first class mail if you so choose, and that'll run you $132 for 1 year. Life membership, first class mail delivery for QST, paid annually. If you're a life member or have been a life member, you can get the 12 issues of QST via first class mail for a current life member for $48. Looks like the life members made out pretty good there. Now, it also gets down into the family, student, blind, international people as well. But there you got the major breakdown. I did notice one thing for, matter of fact, let's cover that. If you are a life member, pay attention. This is important. If you're a current life member, as of July of 2023, you may choose to continue receiving the printed QST or the OTA magazine at no additional cost by contacting the ARRL between September 1st of this year and June 30th of 2024. So you got a little time there, but you're going to have to let them know. Otherwise, you're going to lose your printed copy of one of those magazines. So that's just for a life member. You're going to need to contact them to let them know that. Monthly payment plan options are being created for members age 70 plus to help senior members who are experiencing financial stress. And they are undertaking work to determine revenue neutral pricing for life membership. So new applications for life membership are not being accepted as of July 21st of this year, while the new rates are being established. Well, I know for myself, I was always a member and plan on probably continue being a member, but now the amount will be $59 for the year, and I always got the printed magazine as well as the electronic version, but now I'll have to add an additional $25 for the printed version of QST if I so choose to keep getting that. So there you go. If you haven't had a chance to look at it yet, definitely do that. suggest you take a look at the DWRL website and read the member bulletin from Rick Roderick. That way you get the whole breakdown. You guys that have been life members are definitely going to check that out so you don't lose out on your printed copy if you choose to continue to do that. Any questions, comments, anything on the ARRL's information before we continue calling out? Alright, hopefully by now, maybe, some of you might have the schematic of the phase lock loop unit for the Yaesu FT991A in front of you. Kind of the way we do this is we'll see if there's anybody out there that would like to just identify a schematic component on the phase lock loop unit diagram of the FT991A. If you do that, like I say, you can identify a solid state device, a resistor, a capacitor, whatever you want, or describe something in the radio or ask a question about that particular part of the schematic, why that'll earn you 1 point. So we got this week, and then next week will be the final week for this particular radio. We'll total up the score. Anybody that's got 4 points, why they'll be in the lead and win the lottery ticket. If we have a tie, we'll have a runoff. And I'll tell you how we'll do the runoff if and when we end up with a tie. All right. That all being said, again, hopefully you have your schematic of the phase lock loop unit. And it's always good to have a copy of the block diagram of not only the whole radio, but of the part that has to do with the phase lock loop unit, because that really helps to see the flow of things. As you need to dig down into more detail, then you will go to the schematic diagram. To get an overall view of what's happening, it's kind of good just to look at the block diagram. Keep that in mind. All right. Anybody, well, what we'll do, I'll try to make a little list here. Is there anybody who would like to get on the list here, who would like to identify or describe a schematic symbol or a part on the phase lock loop unit? Call now. KHPX, be on the list. All right, anybody else? But just a minute to look at the diagram. A lot of people probably go, man, it's the first time I looked at it, and there's a lot there. It's real simple. Pick out a squiggly line or a coil or a diode or anything you recognize. Just describe it for us. Give us maybe the schematic identification of it. Tell us anything about it if you want. That will get you a point. I'll stand by here for just a minute. WEAREI. All right, well, hopefully maybe some of you got a chance or have a chance to look at it here. You're going to learn a little bit, have a little bit of fun. And if at any time you want to get on the list here, why just holler. We'll get you in here and put you on the list. KETX, Ron, what can you describe for us?
All right, very good. This is KETX. I'm looking at component D2013. It's dual diode. It's at the top of the page, or top of the schematic, all the way to, or almost all the way to the left. Looks like it's being fed from the MOSFET on the, I guess, primary end of it. I don't know what you call it. I'm not sure what that dual diode is supposed to be used for, but it goes into that little IC just before the big the transformer there, T2001. Not sure what that dual diode's purpose is. That's my observation, Jeff.
All right, fine business, Ron. I see it. I see it on the diagram. Hopefully maybe there's a few others that follow along. D2013. It's just a dual diode package, all in one little surface-mounted device. You can see where the cathodes are tied together, and the anodes are separate. So it just has 3 terminals on it. And yeah, so what that's for, after looking, and you gotta look really close at the diagram, it doesn't just pop out at you. So what that's for is if you were to study this schematic diagram, you would see that there are actually 5 voltage-controlled oscillators on the phase lock loop board. There's 5 of them. And 3 of those, the first 3, VCO1 through VCO3, are kind of in the HF band all the way up to about 56 megahertz. Those VCOs cover from, it looks like all the way from the actual VCO frequencies go all the way from 69 megahertz all the way up to 125.5 megahertz. And so, with that diode, it's actually it's called a switch because that's really what it's doing. Depending on what frequency you select on the radio, that picks a logic voltage that appears on the connector. If you look at the bottom right of the schematic, you'll see J2001. And there you'll see a bunch of pins. They're labeled VCO1, VCO2, VCO3, 4, and 5. Let's say, for example, you're going to operate on the 40-meter band, which is, it's 7 megahertz. If you look at the very top left, you'll see a rectangle that shows 69 to 83.5 megahertz. That's the actual frequency range of the first VCO. Underneath that is the actual received frequency that's coming in the front end of the radio. And so it goes from from 0.03 to 13.9 megahertz. So if you were to select the 40-meter band, 7 megahertz, you would have put a voltage on the pin for VCO1, which is pin 7. And when you did that, if you follow VCO1, it has 2 paths. One goes to a diode, D2004, which then feeds a resistor, which then turns on one side of that diode switch you just described, D2013. And what you'll see is that's the same path for the first 3 VCOs. Any one of those 3 VCOs, 1, 2, and 3, will turn on. They'll turn on the actual bottom diode of 2013. And so, once that diode's turned on, that allows the selected VCO's signal to pass through that diode switch to that, what you're looking at there, that is an op amp, it's a wide band op amp, a real wide broadband op amp, and then to the output of the phase lock loop unit. Now, if you were to select a frequency in the VHF or UHF range, now you'd be selecting one of the VCOs that are more towards the bottom left. And you'll see they're labeled VCO4 and VCO5 if you look carefully at the diagram. These are various frequency ranges. Had you selected a frequency in that frequency range, the microprocessor would have put a voltage on either VCO pin 5 or VCO pin 4 of connector J2001. That would have selected the other diode, the top diode, and that diode switch And now that allows one of those two oscillators, their signal to pass through the wideband amplifier. Now, so really the next question is, well, what selects the individual VCOs? That's done by that same logic level. Each one of those pins goes to two different locations. One has to do with turning on the proper side of the switch, D2013 that you just described, and then the other path that logic level takes actually turns on a transistor that puts a ground on the source of the JFET. The JFET is the active component in the voltage-controlled oscillator of each part. There's 5 of them there, and they're not MOSFETs, they're JFETs. So those are a little bit different than what we've seen on the power amps where they use MOSFETs. What's interesting is you can really dig down into this. In the very middle of the schematic, you see an integrated circuit, Q2014. That's the actual phase lock loop integrated circuit. You can look up the part number, read all the specs about it, everything. But it's kind of the one that kind of does a lot of the magic. And it has an output. It's called a charge pump. And that charge pump output on pin 2 provides a DC voltage that pulls the VCO onto frequency. If you were to follow that pin 2 output, you'll see that it goes to their variable capacitors of each one of those oscillators. And by varying the voltage on those variable capacitors, they're called varicaps, you actually change the frequency of the oscillator. A little bit of the output of the phase lock loop is fed to this integrated circuit. It gets compared with the reference frequency, and then if they're different a little bit, that charge pump will provide an output voltage, and it will steer the oscillator back on frequency. So that's sort of a really, really rough overall idea of somewhat how that works. But yeah, so D2013 steers the output of either VCO 4 or 5 to the wideband amplifier, or it steers VCO 1, 2, or 3 to the wideband amplifier. That's all that's for. Yeah, I got KAPX and the group WPA. I find business from it. Now, that's a good observation. That does nothing more than either switches down two VCOs, 4 and 5, or it switches to the other side, which is the first 3 VCOs. Why they did that, maybe when they engineered it or designed it, might have something to do with the frequency range of those oscillators, where they had to bring them in a separate path. Maybe there's some other components there that are different in that path because of the different frequency range. But that's all that's doing. It's either the top one or the bottom one. And you can see that the diodes on the bottom left, labeled VCO1 through VCO5, you see the first 3 are tied together. And so it doesn't matter, just any one of those 3 turns on the one half of that switch. And then the other 2 oscillators, VCO4 and 5, they turn on those 2 bottom diodes, D2007 and D2008. So that's sort of how that works.
Thanks for the explanation, Jeff. I do appreciate it, and it's very interesting little event you got going on here during the day. I do enjoy it. KEAPX.
All right, very good, Ron. Yeah, I'm hoping there are a few people might like looking at the diagrams, and this is actual schematic diagram from an actual service manual for a very popular amateur radio, the FT991 Yaesu radio. So I had an opportunity to kind of brush up on identifying some components. And so next week will be the last week of this. We'll look at it one more time. Again, when you look at the diagram, you'll see that there are two integrated circuits there. The one I mentioned, Q2014, there in the middle, it does most of the magic. It's really the phase lock loop workhorse. All those FETs, they're junction field effect transistors. Each one of those is a separate oscillator. And then the other integrated circuit, that's more on the bottom right, Q2015, is a direct digital synthesizer IC. And really all it's doing, it takes the reference oscillator and it provides a 10.7 megahertz reference output. That's what gets fed then to the phase lock loop integrated circuit for comparison. So it can see if that, make sure that frequency is stable, and if it's not, it provides a particular DC voltage to pull that oscillator back on frequency. So phase lock loop unit. It only provides one output to the main board. It could be anywhere from 69.03 to 539.45 megahertz. Just depends on what operating frequency you've selected, and then the microprocessor talks to this board and sets up all the dividers and everything so that it provides the proper first local oscillator ejection frequency. There's a mouthful. All right, good job, Ron. You got another one there. I think you and Jim are tied. I'll have to go back and look at my score sheet. So remember, next week will be the last week for it, and where we got with the highest. We'll get the lotto card. Maybe it could be your ticket to who knows what kind of wonderful surprises. All right, before we get off this and get ready to wrap it up, any other questions or comments about the Yaesu FT991A?
I got a question, Jim. And QQI, but it's not about that circuit. About something else.
NQQY. Hey, go ahead, Jim.
I got a Kenwood 450 sugar on my antenna, and it won't receive, it won't transmit. And the code that comes out, CW code that comes out when you turn it on, relates to the TLL circuit is open. What's it mean? Open.
That is such an excellent question. So hopefully everybody heard what Jim was saying there. It's Kenwood 450 F radio. It will not receive anything. It will not transmit anything, but it sends a CW code out the speaker. Something like that. So what Jim's probably hearing, without actually digging further into it, is that he's hearing a maintenance code describing the problem that the radio is having. And I would guess that the radio is out of lock. The VCO is probably out of lock. And if you copy CW and you know what the actual code is that the radio is sending out the speaker, you can probably look it up in the manual, and it will give you a little description as to what that fault is. It's a fault that it's telling you. And a lot of times what happens is, if you're not receiving anything, you're not transmitting anything, the voltage control oscillator, the exact same thing we're talking about here right now, is out of lock. As a matter of fact, what's really cool about that, anybody that has this schematic of the FT991A in front of them, you'll see there are two transistors that have to do with the out of lock condition, the very thing that Jim's talking about in his Kenwood. And it's Q2018 and Q2820. And so all those are is when that integrated circuit in the middle of the diagram says that it cannot lock the oscillator on frequency, it will generate an output voltage first to Q2018. That's called the unlock detector. And then it turns on a transistor called the unlock transistor, and it provides a voltage to the microprocessor to tell it, hey, I'm out of lock, man. This VCO is out of lock. I cannot bring it on frequency and lock it in. And then the microprocessor does whatever it does. It either sends out an alarm or it tells you there's something wrong in the VCO. So very interesting, very interesting. NAQQI, back to you.
Yeah, I looked it up in the manual and referenced the code, and it said that the problem was the PLL circuit was open, is what it tells in the manual.
There you go. Phase lock loop open. And yeah, there's usually very brief descriptions. They don't go into a lot of detail. They don't tell you exactly what component it is. Yeah, you got to kind of narrow it down. If that type of situation were to happen on the FT991A and it announced itself in a CW message and it said, hey, phase lock loop is open, probably the first place you would go to is the phase lock unit board, the very one we're looking at right now. If you were lucky enough to have one to swap out with it, that would be the quickest way to find out the problem. If not, you might have to really troubleshoot using a schematic diagram down into the board. Yeah, that's definitely what we're going over here, Jim. And maybe I'll tell you what, between now and next week, I'll dig out a schematic of the Kenwood 450S, the phase lock loop unit. We'll take a look at it. I don't know, maybe we can point out a couple things. There's all kinds of things that might keep the oscillator for the phase lock loop from operating properly. So I'll dig that out, and maybe we'll touch on that a little bit next week. Back to you.
I appreciate that, because that was my first HF rig, and I really love the radio. And hurt when I quit working on that by then. I couldn't find anybody to work on the thing. Kenwood would touch it. Too old since Penn bought the thing in 92 or 93, I think.
We'll shed a little bit of light on it and see what we come up with. Probably the first thing I would be interested in knowing is whether or not it's modularized, like the Yaesu MT991 is, where a lot of the major subsections of the radio are on just one board. Which, if that's the case, a lot of times it makes it simple. If you can find an older radio or whatever, to swap boards to see if you've got it right down to the board, then you can go from there. Well, we'll talk more about it next week. That's super cool, man. I made a note of that. I'll dig up a schematic on the 450S Kenwood, the phase lock loop, and we'll take a look at that. Very good, Jim. I'll put you down for 1 point. Anything else?
And done eating my corn dogs, so don't have to worry about eating lunch.
Corn dog sounds good, man. They'll have some of those out at the Seneca County Fair this week, I'm sure of that. Probably guys out there eating them right now as we speak. Yeah, I'm getting hungry too, so it's time to wrap it up. Before I close, are there any other stations with any questions, comments, anything for the net, anything you want to bring up? Call it out. Everybody's quiet. Okay, remember, keep an eye on the weather today. Pay attention to your Skymore repeaters. If you need to activate a net, by now I'm sure you know what to do in your area. If you're here in Seneca County, the guys are out at the Seneca County Fair all this week. If you get a chance, go out and check out the amateur radio booth. It's at the Public Safety Building. You can meet Dan and the other Dan, and we got a whole bunch of Dans, by the way, and Mike's, and all those guys. Get to meet them and talk to them there. And I'm sure they'll be operating the Skymore net, if need be, out there later today or tonight. So you got 3 things today. 4 o'clock, right around 4 p.m., the International Space Station, slow scan image of some kind of message to the school teachers there at DWRL. Remember, it's on the UHF frequency, not 145-800. It'll be on the UHF frequency again at 4 p.m. Also, tonight, 9 p.m. There's a 6-meter net up around the Toledo area. Check out the information. There's frequencies that I gave you earlier, and take a listen. They could be on 52.525 FM tonight. Have to check the schedule, but that'll be at 9 p.m. And every Wednesday they do one. Sometimes it's FM, sometimes it's upper sideband, sometimes it's AM. But it's always 9 p.m. on Wednesday evenings. And last but not least, don't forget the Ohio QSO Party Zoom meeting. That's going to take place sometime this evening. I wish I had the time. I don't have it in front of me. You want to go to the Cuyahoga Falls Amateur Radio Club website. Cuyahoga Falls Amateur Radio Club website. You'll find all the information about the Zoom meeting, what time it starts, how to get into it, all that. And they're going to cover everything, not only on the Ohio QSO Party, but on some of these new events that are coming up that have to do with all the QSO parties. Should be interesting, so you want to check that out. All right, that's it. Again, keep Jim Yoder and his family, WADRW. Your prayers are going to miss Jim. Again, good friend, Seneca Radio Club member, and a cabinet member of the Ohio section. Big shoes to fill for Jim there. Okay, with that, we'll close this section. North Central Ohio Information and Traffic Net. Thanks to all my help here, Ron. Thanks to Bob. Thanks to Dan. Thanks to Pat. Thanks to Lenny. Don't forget to check out Lenny's YouTube page. Listen to your signal. See what it looks like. It's got a lot of good information there. Oscilloscopes, spectrum analyzers on the RF side, and spectrum analyzers on the analog side. So definitely check it out. This is WDAREI, the North Central Ohio Information and Traffic Net. We're now clear at 12:35. Have a wonderful week, everybody. This is NAPPS, and thank you, Jeff, for running the net. And you've got to get a dry mouth during these hours. 7-3 NAPPS. Yeah, thanks, Rick. Well, I always have a big 12-glass of water beside me, but yeah, for some reason I drink it all pretty quick here, and I didn't get a chance to refill it. Next time I'll have 2 bottles of water. All right, good talking to you. Have a good week, Rick. WDAREI.
November 8th. Oops. X-Ray Lima, go back. Sign out the YouTube page. All right there.
Cheers, you lovely radio nerds. And I'm not kidding. N8XLQ, man, have an awesome day.